Hi guys, it's Cindy aka Disney Queen. I just want to welcome you back to my channel. Today I'm going to do the next part of my series about how I go about planning my Walt Disney World trips. And I don't know if you saw the last video that I did, but I made an announcement that we've decided on when we're going, and we booked our hotel stay. We'll be doing military discount tickets, so we won't be doing a package. We're doing a room only. I contacted my travel agent and we went through everything and got a good quote. And I'm thinking, depending on how things go, how much information I actually gather, how much we actually use it, about doing like a little special thing about using the military discounts when we come back from our trip. Our trip is November of 2019 of next year, and we're really excited about it. I think it was last week I started planning exactly how I was going to go about laying out the trip. If you haven't seen it before, this is my Disney planner. This is the front of it, and then that's the back of it. And I just got pictures from off of the internet and created a binder. And I'm not going to be taking the binder with me because for the first time ever, we're actually going to be flying to Florida for this trip. And so last week I talked about which some of my favorite resorts were and why I like them. And I talked about where we possibly could be staying. So now we know we're staying at the All-Star Sports. Staying for 7 nights, 8 days, and we haven't gotten plane tickets yet. We haven't decided on how many meals we're going to do on property, or if we're going to try to get an Uber and go off property. That's something that we're used to doing because we've always driven before. So this trip is going to be completely different. It's going to be exciting. We're going just around the time where either the food and wine will be just ending, and hopefully the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party will just be starting. So we're gonna try to work around some of those events to see if we can attend at least one of them. And so I'm gonna show you how I go about planning. And so the next part of my planner, after I decide which resort I'm staying at, is my planning section. And I have tabs with days. And in each section, we're actually going to be going on a Monday, arriving on a Monday. I got these out of off of the internet. PixieDustandPeaches, I watched one of her videos about planning, and this is where I got the information from, and so I'm going to be using that. This is the one part of the planning that I haven't actually decided on. I know what parks I want to go to on what days, so this part will help me with planning that, because it has your dining reservations, which I don't ask me why, but I tend to choose which restaurants I want to go to first, and then we work around the that with our rides and what parks we're going to go to. And so shows and parades, there'll be a section where I'll talk about that. And this little sheet has the times and the location, and it just helps me with planning. I am a planner by nature. I'm also a planner by profession, and so this has dining reservations, fast pass. So I know which park we want to go to. I haven't decided on which fast pass rides we want to take. So that's going to be part of my process. But these are the little sheets that's in it. And I think there is another sheet. It has, we tend to park hop, and that is our plan, is to get the military ticket that has where you can park. We're going to do 5 days of the park. So there will be a couple of days where we won't be in the parks, but we'll do Disney Springs. We'll do some shopping. We'll go to the character warehouse. So we'll plan around that too. So what I did was I have the 3 sheets for that day, because we may go to one park in the morning and then take a lunch break, take a shopping break, and then go to another park in the afternoon. So I wanted to have enough room to decide like exactly how we wanted to do the day. So I'll show you. This was my schedule from last year. And it's a few pages long, and I always start with the day that I'm leaving, and then I end with the day that we come back. And I always make notes about arrival day, what time we'll check in, where we will visit. We usually don't go to the parks the very first day that we arrive at Disney, so we always go to Disney Springs or go check some of the outlet malls, or we've even gone to flea markets. And so we also, one of the things we try to do is have dinner at Ohana if we can get reservations that first day, so that I can at least see the Magic Kingdom. I know that's crazy, on the trip. And then we always get on the monorail and ride around just so we can get the feel of what it's like that we're finally back home. And so I always have a bonus section, which this one says, I'll give you an example: watch Happily Ever After from the restaurant, or the electric water pageant parade from the beach. And so I put little notes into my when I'm doing the planning. And then the days that we're going to be in the park, I will have what rides we want to ride first. If there's any meet and greets we'd like to do, I try to schedule that in. And then I schedule in, and we're going to take a lunch break. And on this one, we had lunch at Be Our Guest at 1:50 p.m. once we know what places we want to eat. And like I say, then we work around that. And so that's kind of how I go about making the decisions. So this year, I've already started working on my worksheet, and I started by, once I knew where we were going to be staying, once I knew when we were going to be staying, I started filling out a sheet. And I always start with the date and the arrival day and the end day. And then right now I have where we're going to be eating breakfast. Like the day that we travel, we'll be eating before we leave. I don't know if you know this, I've mentioned it in a couple of my videos, that my husband had a stroke this year, and he's also a diabetic. And so we've had to change how we are going to be doing some of our eating, because we would eat something in the hotel room in the morning, and then maybe go like half the day without eating anything, and then grab like a snack and then eat a dinner in the evening. Well, we can't do that anymore. We have to really make sure that we sit down, or at least get something of substance in his stomach. So I have it scheduled: our breakfast times, our lunch times, our dinner times, any special events that we would like to do that day. And then like on park days, I have breakfast, then which park we're going to be going to. I have a section for what rides we would like to see in the morning. We tend to get up early and go in as early as they will let us into the park. And then I have a section for Fast Pass, and I don't know if you can tell, but I have everything color coded. Yeah, I'm that crazy person that color codes. And then I have a section where we break for lunch, and I have, like here, I have lunch at Geyser Point Bar and Grill. It's one of my favorite places at the Wilderness Lodge, and it also gives us an opportunity to see the lodge. And then evening at Hollywood Studios, and then I have a section for what rides we'd like to see on that day. Monorail over to Epcot, and then take a boat over to Hollywood Studios. And I notice a lot of traveling, but for me, I love the getting on the ride, on the transportation just as much. Like for me, getting on the monorail just like sends my heart go pitter-pat crazy. And then I love taking the boat from the International Gateway, and then taking the boat over to Hollywood Studios, and then coming back and going to Epcot, because Epcot is our favorite resort. Now next year, if I'm not mistaken, by the time that we go, the gondolas might be up, and so that might change some things. I still haven't decided if I want to get on the gondola. I'm not afraid of heights, but it's just something about being in a gondola that's swinging in the air. by a string, and I know it's not a string, but just something about that just kind of don't know how I feel. Okay, guys, I'm not even sure where I left off, but I think I was talking about how I go about choosing things to do each day, and I think I left on the bonus part where an example would be let the magic begin and move it, shake it, which I know won't be there next year. This was my schedule from last year. Then I have the things that we would do in the afternoon, and then I have like optional. We might head to Animal Kingdom to see the evening or nighttime activities, because one of the things that we didn't get to do last year was we didn't get to go back to Animal Kingdom and see Pandora at night. And I've seen videos about it, I've seen pictures of it, but we haven't actually experienced it for ourselves. And I think that with the time of year that we're going to be going next year, that it'll be a little easier because it won't be as hot, and I think we will enjoy it a little bit more. Like Animal Kingdom is just one of those resorts where I would like to explore it more, but every time we've ever gone, it's been when it's really hot, and I don't do well with heat. I'm just gonna say that I don't do well with heat. I am not a summertime person, but for a lot of years we went, of course, in the summertime because of our children, but now they're grown people, so we don't have to go in the summertime. So I'm not even sure why we kept booking it in the summertime even after they were adults. Oh, because they were in college. So then sometimes we would eat off property. So I have here a late dinner, and I choose a restaurant, and then I put in notes like Animal Kingdom will be open from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. So usually just before we go on our trip, I update my list of things so that I can put in times when things start. And I know that we have the app, but I'm a visual person, and sometimes the app is just not enough. I need to line it up and look at it and figure out in my head, is this going to work for my family? And even though this is a very structured list, we do change things up. That happened a lot last year. We would start to do something, and then because of the time or because of how hot it was, or maybe we were just a little tired and we wanted to go sit down somewhere in the air conditioning, we would change what was on the schedule. So what I usually end up doing is, because of phones now and note sections, I just take this list, I transfer it to my phone, and I keep it in my phone. So I was able to look at it while we were in the park and say, okay, this is what we have scheduled, but if you guys want to do something different, let me know. And I have enough information stored in my phone about different things, and with the Disney app, that we can make the changes if needed. So like I said, it's not really, it looks more complicated than it is, and if you're not a structured person, then this probably would not work. If you're like a fly by the seat of your pants type of person, then this type of schedule wouldn't work for you, and that's fine. You have to do Disney the way that Disney works for you. For my family, if I don't give them a schedule, if they don't have an idea where they're going or what we're going to do, even if it's loosely put together, then it kind of messes up our day, because they know we're going to get up in the morning, we're going to eat our breakfast in the room, we're going to go catch the bus, or we're going to go get in our car, we're going to drive over to this particular park, and because we've gone enough times, most sections of the park, we know exactly where to go. So we might pick up a map as a souvenir. We might even look at our app, Disney app now, just to check to see the times. For me, that's the biggest thing I love about the Disney app, is I can look at it and see how long a particular ride is. And because of the way FastPass works now, I like the fact that once we've done our 3, and that's the other thing I was going to say, we tend to pick 3 in the morning, and we go to extra early. We try to get in as early as we can into the park, and we knock out some of the things that are more difficult to get a fast pass for, or because there's tiered fast pass, we're not able to get the ones we want, we will arrange it where we go in the morning and see what we can ride on. And that happened to us last year. We really wanted to get on Peter Pan, and I know from experience and watching the app, and that's the other thing I do, is I look at the app year round, and I kind of get an idea of how the rides are, how long the waits are for certain rides. We got in there early enough when they were first opening up the park to go straight to Peter Pan. I think we waited maybe 15 minutes if we waited that long in the standby line. And by the time we came out of Peter Pan, it was already up to like 90 minutes to an hour to wait for Peter Pan. So because we knocked it out first thing in the morning, we then left from there, went to a couple of other rides, and then by 10:30, I want to say, let's see, let me look at my old schedule because I don't know if I have the times on when the actual fast pass actually went into effect, because once we made our fast pass, I did add it to my schedule, but I put it on the one that was on my phone so that I could have it right there on my phone so I would know exactly when. But once we did that, then we went to a couple of other rides, and some of them were even ones that we would have had a fast pass for. So once we realized we didn't need that fast pass anymore, I think we did this at Magic Kingdom and at Epcot, where it completely changed. We thought we were going to have to wait to see that another day, but because of the way the lines were working out those particular days that we were there, we were able to see them earlier. So then the next day we would go back and we would try to see something that we didn't think we would get a chance to see. One of the other things that we tend to do is once we check to see what's available, as soon as we finished with those 3 fast pass, then my daughter would get on the app and she would look up to see what else she could get a fast pass for. If you don't do your fast pass earlier in the day and you wait and do them in the evening, that kind of hinders you because you can't make any more fast pass reservations until you finish those 3. So that's why we tend to do it in the morning, and then in the afternoon we just kind of walk around and decide what we want to watch, to go look at a ride based on what's available and how long the lines are. The one tip that I recently got from someone that I think is a great tip is when you're getting ready to book your fast pass, make sure that if it's something that you really want to get on, like Slinky Dog, and I'm not sure I'm gonna get on Slinky Dog. Like I said, we're not a big roller coaster ride people at all. I may try it. We'll see what happens when I get there. If you want to ride something as popular as Slinky Dog, and I know next year, Star Wars is supposed to open up, and I know that's going to be a madhouse. I'm kind of hoping that everybody will be at Star Wars so I can go to some of the other parks and it'll be a little calmer if it's open when we get there. They suggest that you get that fast pass later in the week because there will have been people ahead of you who've already had access to getting a fast pass who may already take those up. So some of those more popular rides, look at trying to do it later in the week on your schedule. And that's kind of why it's really good to have a schedule. You don't have to have it laid out like I have it laid out, but at least kind of know if you want to be a person that sits down to eat, then you need to know that because you have to make reservations. If you want to be a person that just has to ride the popular ride, then you need to know that which ride you want to ride so that you can get that fast pass. Because I'm telling you, when Pandora opened up last year, I had friends who were down there and they didn't have a fast pass for it, and they had to wait in line a very long time to ride it. And a lot of people go down and they just they buy their tickets when they get there. That, if I could convince you to do anything, I would say prepare ahead of time, at least by buying your tickets in advance so you're not stuck in a long line when you get there to get it. And it gives you an opportunity. If you're on property, you can book at a certain number of days. If you're off property, you can book at a certain number of days, but you want to do it before you get there. There used to be a time where there were down times at Disney. There is not a downtime at Disney anymore. We've gone in the summertime, we've gone in the spring, we've gone in the fall, in the winter, and it used to be you could walk on some rides with no problem. But Disney is a popular place, and so that's not even an option for some people anymore. So I suggest, even if you're not going to plan it down to the very minute, and you can see I don't have like times. The only thing I put times on here for is to know when they open early or when they open late. I put in the time that we have our fast pass, and everything else is kind of, you know, as it comes along. I know people who will do it down to the minute, and that's fine if that's what they're interested in doing. But if you don't want to do even this type of schedule, you have to prepare a few things. So I would say, as I summarize and end it, know where you want to eat, if you want counter service or if you want a sit-down restaurant, because to sit-down restaurants you need to book. Know what fast pass rides you want to get on. Know what days you would like to go see them, depending on what park you're at. And I would say the other thing is, if I could give you any tip when you're making your schedule, put in some downtime. You need it. I don't think people realize how big Disney is when they go for the first time. We knew it was big, but even we didn't know how big it was until we actually got there. It's like a city within itself. And so you have to be prepared a little bit. It's not like going to where we live where you can go to Busch Gardens. It's not like going there, getting a ticket and just spending the day, you know, at the park hanging out. It's just not the same. It's not like going to even Hershey Park, which I've been to, and it's not like going to it's another big park, I can't think of the name of it. You need to do a little preparation. So I'm hoping that you got a little something from this video that might help you with your planning process. You don't have to do a big binder like I do. I love planning, so this is why I do this. And I like finding the little pictures and putting the pictures on, and I like having my little tabs all labeled. That's just me. You don't have to do that. The next section that I will be talking about I'm actually going to come back to the packing section because I want to do that the closer we get to our trip. I am actually already planning my wardrobe for next year, but I think the packing, I think I might do like a packing video, so I don't want to do that too early. So the next section we will probably talk about is let me see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. All of that was in my planning section. But the next section we'll probably talk about is restaurants and menus and Disney dining. And that is going to be a fun section for me to talk about because one of my big things that I really like is the dining at Disney. We're not really hamburger hot dog people, so I have to do a little research even for dining to find places that are really places that I want to eat at. And I have a couple of favorites. We thought about doing the dining plan, but because we're doing the room only, we're not doing the dining plan, and I calculated and worked it out. So when I get to this section, which will be the next video that you will see as far as my dining, as far as my planning videos segment, we'll talk about dining and how I came to the conclusion that the dining plan was not for us, even though we will be eating a lot at Disney. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was some information in here that, you know, helped you in some way. If you have any questions, you can just ask me below. I love responding to comments. Let's see. I want to say again, and I know I say this every time, I want to say thank you to all of the new subscribers. I hope that you find something here that you like. My videos can be about planning, sometimes it's about decorating, sometimes it may be about crafts, sometimes it may be about collectibles. It's probably going to be a lot about collectibles because I love to collect Disney stuff. As a matter of fact, I already have in mind a couple of more videos that have to do with things that I collect. If you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of my videos, I would suggest hitting the notification button because I don't have like a set schedule. I try to record Tuesdays and Thursdays and put something up, but that's not always possible. Like this Tuesday, I didn't put anything up, but I gave you a bonus video last week, so that kind of covered me. So if you really want to know when I put a video up, just hit the little notification button. If you'd like to be in communication with me other than on YouTube, you can look me up on Twitter, you can look me up on Instagram. I'm on there a lot, and I also have a Facebook page. And that's it until the next time we get together. So until then, have a blessed day.